David Calvo. I'm the Director of Family and Community Engagement at CABE, the California Association for Bilingual Education. We're at CABE Conference 2023, and in the exhibit hall, I ran into Sandra Medrano-Arroyo, which I've been working with for a couple of years, loosely.
What a coincidence. Who would have known we'd see each other again here?
Yeah, Sandra, so I heard you had a great session today. I'd love to learn more about your content.
Oh, absolutely. I did have a great session. You know, it's always wonderful when you go and you present, you leave that door open and you've got maybe, 10, 15, 20 people in, but you leave that door open and people just start coming in and you're just getting more and more excited and more engaged. It's a wonderful feeling, but I'm really glad that I left that door open because I ended up having, I guess you would call seating room only, as opposed to standing room only, because they were everywhere, which is great. But the beauty of it is that I was able to share with, I don't know, close to maybe 100 teachers or admins about the power of testimonios, which is exactly what this conference is all about, right? Which is something that is so important. And we worked our way through looking at our own lives as un testimonio, and then moving into how do we use that as a self-reflective tool to now help our kids discover who they are, who do they identify with, how can they use that to self-advocate, and then to begin to advocate for others.
Sure.
So it's fabulous, if I do say so myself. I was fabulous.
So you've been in the bilingual education space for some time.
Yes, I have.
How long?
I've been about 2 decades already in bilingual education, and it's funny because I didn't start out in bilingual education. I started out with students of special needs, the ESC, and I kind of just stumbled into bilingual education, and I've never looked back. Just a couple of years ago, in one of those self-reflections of testimonios, I realized that it was bound to happen, right? Because I have my own story as a student that walked into a school district and assets weren't really recognized. And so how I eventually fell into advocating for those whose voices also were not being heard. And so it's where I belong.
All right, so you've been in the space for a while. I wonder if you can reflect a little bit about where we were 20 years ago and where we are today.
Oh boy. So 20 years ago, I'd like to say that in 20 years, a lot has happened, and it has. And for the most part, from what I hear, especially at a conference such as this one, right, where you hear from so many people who are advocating on a daily basis for our kids and really putting forth an incredible amount of effort to help our kids become all they can be in 2 languages or more. But then there's other parts of education as a whole, when we look at bilingual education, where I think there's still so much work to be done. We've come a long way with curriculum. We've come a long way in some states with assessments, native language use, and the acceptance of that in classrooms, as an instructional practice. But there's still so much more to be done. Our teachers are just craving knowledge. They want to hear more and more. I mean, my session the time was over and we were still sitting there talking, right? Because they just want to just gain all the knowledge that they can in every little tidbit to be able to take it back and help their kids. So there's hope, which is a great thing.
You shared that we still have more to go. What are some more of those things that we need to look forward to?
I think changing mindsets, I think that's a constant work. That's something that we're always going to have to be very mindful of, be very intentional with. More conferences, making more conferences like this one accessible to educators. There's a lot of districts where this, sending even one teacher might be very difficult.
Yeah.
Now there's plenty of districts here that have sent much more than one. I mean, I've talked to one, she brought 25 people with her. That's fantastic, but let's think about that. 25 classrooms that we had to find substitutes for. There's a lot involved in those intricacies that we know make up a school day. And so there's got to be a way that we're able to make this much more accessible to those smaller districts, smaller groups of teachers. And I don't have the answers, but I know that that would be very helpful, because too often bilingual education is not something that is broached at a district level. You know, whether you have a dual language program or not, or an immersion program or not, there's a lot of districts who just don't have the expertise in place. And so a conference like this fills those gaps. So that's definitely one area. I think the pipeline of bilingual education teachers is huge. Another topic for another day. I'll meet you next year here.
Yes.
¿Verdad?
¿Verdad?
Porque that's just, it's always been, exactly, funny story, that's exactly how I stumbled into bilingual education, being a recruiter for bilingual personnel for the school district where I lived. And there was an incredible need, and I had to go, everywhere. I had to go everywhere to find bilingual teachers, and we had to start cultural exchange programs, and we had to go through Confucius Institute. And I mean, there were so many things. You had to think outside of the box constantly. Well, not a lot of that has changed in 20 years.
Yes.
And I think that showcasing educators, not only in conferences like this, but even in our own schools, through social media, I think we need to do a better job as a whole of showcasing teachers, so that our youth can look at this profession once again and say, you know what, that'd be pretty cool. I kind of like that idea, to be able to impact others on such a great level. So that's definitely another one.
All right, you've talked about the conference and how important it is and how valuable it is. How long have you been coming to the CABE conferences?
Oh my goodness, so this is my first CABE conference.
Okay.
Confession, testimonio. This is my first CABE conference. It's funny because I've sent a lot of people to CABE conferences throughout the years in the roles that I have had, but this is my first one. And I'm very grateful to my company for giving me that opportunity to do so, because it's fabulous.
What do you think?
I love it. I love the energy. I'm from New York originally.
Okay.
And so this is the other, this is like another world, the West Coast. And I love, it's like another world. So I love hearing what's going on here. What's moving and shaking, especially because the climate here changed.
Yes.
Right? And so now that bilingual education, once again, is in those conversations where they need to be for positive reasons, a lot of great things are happening here.
Yes.
And so it's wonderful to be able to share, learn, just listen, and take back all of that information.
Thank you so much for sharing all of this great information. I wonder if there's any closing thoughts that you'd like to share with our audience.
The value of being multilingual is an incredible one. And we should never forget that. We should never let anyone take that away from us, take away that opportunity for us to ingrain that in our youth. If they come to us with one or more languages, let's celebrate it, let's embrace it, let's grow it, develop it, nurture it, love on it. And if they don't, let's make sure they have that opportunity. Let's do that for our kids, because it's a gift. They're only going to be better for it. And we sit here and we think all of us want a better world. Well, why not start with them?
Absolutely. Wow. Thank you so much for coming
Thank
and
you.
sharing your stories and spending time with us. I hope you have a great conference.
Thank you.